cannot call yourself a serious gym guy if you are not using hooks, straps, or VersaGrips. Now, quickly for anyone who's not familiar with these are just things that assist with your grip on pulling movements. Now, the reason why I say you cannot be a serious lifter is if you are making such a grave mistake when it comes to lifting, you just can't be serious. Now, can you lift for fun? Sure. Can you lift as a beginner? And this is no shade to anyone who's a beginner. If you just got into lifting, or if you're just unaware of this, that's fine. But not using and not utilizing this easy thing, such as straps, hooks, VersaGrips, it just doesn't make sense. Look, what these utensils do is they take away your grip from the pulling movements. Now, some of you might be asking, if you're not super familiar with lifting or if you're just getting into it, why you would want to do that. When you were training your back musculature, the goal from a bodybuilding standpoint, or anyone trying to gain muscle, it is to get your back muscles, the lats, the traps, the rhomboids, the rear delts, the spinal erectors, etc., whichever of those you're training, you want to get that muscle close to failure or to failure. Now, a lot of people will do lat pull downs, they'll do pull-ups, they'll do whatever movement that is training their back, and their grip strength will fail, their biceps will fail, their forearms will fail, their hands will get sweaty and they'll lose grip, they'll not have good core stability and they'll fail, etc., etc. All the things I named, and some of those would require a belt, not straps. Well, they'd require both. But all those things that I just listed are reasons why you are not able to get close to failure on a back movement. And that's the name of the game. You need to progressively overload week to week and get to failure or close to failure. And if something is happening before your back gets to failure, now a lot of people, they train hard, they sweat, and they get quote-unquote to failure, but the things that are failing is the grip strength on the pull-ups, is the balance on the squats, is the stability and the core tension, the core rigidity on the deadlifts. So they're getting the failure, they're training quote-unquote hard, but they're not taking the muscle that they're trying to failure. Something else is failing before the back gives out. If you're doing a single arm lat row, the goal is for your lat to get to failure, not your grip strength. So these utensils, they're not cheating, they're not limiting your gains, they're doing the opposite, they're increasing your gains. They're not really cheating and just ignorance are really the only reasons, but this terminology when people say XYZ is cheating, it's kind of absurd. Now, if we're talking from a powerlifting standpoint, yeah, XYZ lift, if your butt comes up on a bench, that's not going to be a good lift. You're going to get red lights and the lift's not going to count. If your goal is to train for bodybuilding or if your goal is to train for sports, it doesn't really matter if you have a quote-unquote good lift or if you post on Instagram, if someone's going to say that counts or if it's cheating. It's kind of irrelevant to the point. Most people are training to gain muscle. Most guys are doing that. Now, they also might want to get strong. That's cool, but most people are training to gain muscle. And if you're past the 6-month mark, if you were seriously, you're in a routine and you're trying to gain muscle, you're taking it serious, you're not going off the wall, you're not trying to uncover every stone, you're not reading every study, which is fine. It's kind of pedantic and kind of ridiculous to, you're 6 months in the gym and you're trying to do everything to maximize your gains. You need to check off the key boxes. And one of the key boxes is if you are training a muscle, your goal is to hypertrophy your lats or your rear delts or both at the same time. That needs to be the thing that fails. It's kind of a common sense thing. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money on useless things, I understand that, and there is a lot of junk in the fitness industry, but I'm not trying to sell you anything. I mean, I am trying to sell you hooks, straps, VersaGrips, but I don't have a link. I'm not profiting off of this. I'm not trying to tell you to buy a specific brand. So if you're serious about gaining back muscle, I would 100% invest in one of those three. I use hooks personally. In the gym industry, most people use straps, and Versagrips are kind of the advanced straps. They're a little bit more pricey, but I would personally recommend hooks, lifting hooks. But most people do use straps, so it's whatever you Google and looks cooler to you. Go for it. But if you're serious about getting back muscle, you need one of those, and you need to be using it on every back movement. It's not cheating. It's not taking away from your seriousness of the gym. And it's a slam dunk.